No one keeps a secret like Square Enix. This trailer came out of nowhere. After years of speculation, constructing dream teams, and maybe even giving up hope, we've finally got our first glimpse at a new game in the mainline series. Final Fantasy XVI is coming. There is frustratingly little information available right now about the game. We know it's being produced by Naoki Yoshida and being directed by Hiroshi Takai. We also know that Square Enix's Creative Business Unit 3 is working on this project. Japanese game companies have historically held to fairly rigid structures of development. The primary team is full of their most talented members, those with the most success and experience in the industry, and they work on the games with the most funding and are expected to be the most successful. The secondary team will have the next level of talent, and so on. Often, a secondary or tertiary team will work on less popular sequels, DLC, or maintenance of existing games, or in a less important intellectual property. Creative Business Unit 3 has historically been the MMO team, so it's unusual to see that they've been tasked with the next mainline entry in the Final Fantasy series. And wait, was that Devil May Cry combat? Oh my god, it is! But this is a channel about music. Why all this business side analysis? Because the composer hasn't been announced yet. We can guess from the current state of Square Enix that Nobuo Uematsu will continue to consult and occasionally write a piece of music or two for the Final Fantasy games. But he's made it clear that he isn't interested in being lead composer on a new video game anytime soon. We can safely assume that Masashi Hamauzu and Mitsuo Suzuki will continue their work on the next installment of Final Fantasy VII Remake, whenever that's coming out. And with all evidence pointing toward the game's roots in Final Fantasy XIV, I'll hazard to guess they'll ask Masayoshi Soken to compose Final Fantasy XVI. They may already have. Following cinema trailer tradition, we begin with drums and string sections providing directionless noise designed to create tension and anxiety.
You all know the target. Shiva's dominant. And only the dominant.
This is not a bright, colorful fantasy. This is dark and dangerous. This man has seen horrors and will see more.
Sergeant, let's summon their icon.
The strings continue to build until an appropriately dramatic moment for an orchestral stinger. And we move to some backstory.
Our foe will not relinquish their mother crystal easily. This will be a bitter fight.
You should not be out of doors. We have discussed this.
These strings play the Final Fantasy main theme, but something's a bit off.
I am Joshua's shield. I'm sworn to protect him.
They drop this note here and take our stately, proud main theme of Final Fantasy and put it in a minor key. Paired with this chromatic bass line and whatever this atonal mess is. And this short string section has told you the theme of this game. The proud, noble line is falling apart. What was once regal and strong is now crumbling and a bit unsettling. We break into combat here with some dramatic plot cuts, And soaring above all that on the strings is the prelude countermelody in all its glory.
What do you mean you refuse? Did you not pledge your sword to our cause?
What does it matter?
There's a break in the music for dramatic effect, and then we're treated to a male choir, still continuing our prelude reference.
The legacy of the crystals. Has shaped our history.
At the very end, we finally hear the traditional harp arpeggio under the female choir.
I'll kill you. If it's the last thing I do.
This arpeggio is handed over to the horns at the very end, but the weight of the horns feels heavy and a little wrong. This trailer takes the two most iconic pieces of Final Fantasy music and uses them to set the tone for a dark, somber fantasy full of loss and despair. This will not be a happy story. I'm still conflicted on whether to be excited about this new mainline entry in the Final Fantasy series. They're working in an older engine than the one perfected by their work on Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it shows in the graphics and animations. But from the music, it sounds like they're finally giving Creative Business Unit 3's music department the budget to shine. And we know that Ryota Suzuki of Capcom has been invited on board to direct combat, so the company isn't afraid to invite new blood into the team. I'll reserve judgment until we get some more information, which we can expect sometime in 2021. If you liked this video, check out my analysis of the prelude in Final Fantasy VII Remake, which touches on how this piece has been transformed through the series. Subscribe if you'd like to see more Final Fantasy music analysis. I post every other week or so. See you next time.